Hello and welcome back to another 5K tennis discussion. Today is January the 8th, Wednesday, 2020, and we are here for hopefully a good show, so I'm ready to jump right in. You, Carla?
Uh-huh.
Let's go. Come on, let's go. Pump myself up as usual, get motivated, kind of like when the dog runs back to the sidelines. I gotta get my head going. Come on. Woo, let's go. Shoot, ready to roll. All right. On today's show, we are going to start with a viewer comment. Okay, this is where we're going to start. I don't want to beat a dead horse, and I'll explain if you missed yesterday's show where Carla and I were discussing at the beginning of yesterday's show about Stefanos Tsitsipas and his tirade and his racket smash and accidentally hitting his father while doing so, and what we, Carla and I, would have done if that was our son on a court, given that we have 5 children and we do coach. I must say one thing before we read her comment, that I know myself am just a naive and dumb human being, as I always try to tell myself, hey, I'm just a dumb human being. What I think is right is definitely usually not, and I'm still learning to figure out what a human being should do every day. So I want to pause for a minute, turn it over to Carla, and I want you to read a viewer comment from Daniela Machado. By the way, this comment is from someone that has been viewing this show for a while, and she deserves a voice, and we will discuss it. I don't want to discuss it too terribly long, because we have a lot to talk about today. So real quickly, shout out to Daniela. I read your comment. It kind of struck me kind of off guard at first, but I pondered it and spoke with B-Dog out there, who was a high level or was a high level football player and coach, and has a son, well actually 2 kids, but a son as well. And I'm going to end this with B-Dog's comment. So Daniela to start, B-Dog to end, but after Daniela's, let's pause and discuss it.
Tsitsipas lost the set and could not control his anger and frustration.
Hold on, slow down the reading.
Tsitsipas lost the set and could not control his anger and frustration. He's immature, so what? He's 21. He had a bad attitude, but please, he didn't mean to hurt his own father. When throwing the racket, the shards of the racket broke and hit accidentally his father. The mother was not giving her a scrap, as I read on many websites, but giving her positive energy. Well, that's what I'm reading.
Yeah.
For the rest of the match.
She meant him.
You guys had the same sensational behavior as many journalists who made his story and made Tsitsipas look like a bad person. Don't think so. I'll have to unsubscribe your channel if you continue to give attention to fake stories like that. Okay.
Do you want to respond first, or do you want me to start?
First of all, I could give a rat's ass if someone unsubscribes or subscribes. It's not like, I think you're going to say the same thing, like we're making money. We're not journalists. The reality is, you shouldn't smash a racket around someone. How many times have we said, we watched Vera smash a racket and you could see the shards coming out of the racket. His dad was right there and he obviously didn't think, yes, it was an accident, but you shouldn't do that. Juniors are watching you. They think that it's okay to act like a buffoon. She said, so what if he's immature? He's 21. At 21, I was pregnant with my first child already. 21-year-olds are considered adults. If you do something by accident, let's say you're in a car and by accident you kill someone, you're going to go to jail for a long, long time. I mean, he should have apologized to his dad right there and then. Maybe he apologized behind doors, but you don't behave like that. We've seen Tsitsipas behave like that constantly. And he's not the only one we give grief to. When Djokovic behaves bad, we say the same thing. When Serena behaves bad, we say the same thing. When Zverev behaves bad, we say the same thing. Just because someone got touchy about their favorite player, they're going to threaten to unsubscribe? I could care less. Sorry.
Okay. First of all, Daniela, love you, always have. You write good comments all the time. She deserves to be frustrated.
I'm not frustrated. I just think it's childish.
Can I speak?
Sure.
She deserves to be frustrated, just like we were frustrated watching a young, talented player that we like a lot act like someone we thought he never would be. First and foremost. At least I'm speaking for myself. When I saw that, I was shocked, appalled, really. I couldn't believe it. I was like, geez, really? That's number one. So, number two, I think Daniela is a staunch Tsitsipas fan. I think we have discussed that before. I may be wrong. So she's looking out for her player number 2. Number 3, Tsitsipas flipped out. He flipped out. That's fact. He accidentally, inadvertently, made his father have a mark on his body. Let me repeat that.
Yeah, you could see the bruise.
He put a mark on his father's body. Surely Tsitsipas feels awful. Surely his dad is bewildered. Surely there are millions of people that would agree with this, and I'm sure there's a pocket of people that see it Daniela's way. And again, do I think that this is something that they squashed as father and son behind closed doors? Absolutely. That's not what this is about. We're not going to get on to this show and talk about family matters, because that's not the take that we have on this. The take on this yesterday was in reference to, let's look at Nalbandian. Nalbandian kicked or did something to a tennis racket, injured a chair umpire. He immediately went over there and apologized and tried to help. He faced an 8-week suspension. He was able to play Wimbledon that year, if I remember correctly. However, he was going through an appellate or an appeal process, so therefore he played it. But ultimately, he had to receive and undertook an 8-week suspension from tour. Am I right?
Yeah, and you saw he was sorry, and Tsitsipas says it's fine.
Yeah, we said this yesterday. So again, we don't want to, we'll take up too much time on this just for an ultimate end to squash this topic. He flipped out. He hurt somebody. He is lucky. Tsitsipas is lucky super lucky that it was his father. Now, I guess if the loophole is it's because it is his father, we're not gonna suspend him, or we're not gonna bring this up, then I guess hypothetically all the best players in the world, or all the players, should have their parents on the sidelines so they can break rackets, and if something hits them, then they don't have to pay the piper for their mistake. Okay? Real quickly, let me pause and defer everything that I feel now to yesterday's show, because that has not wavered whatsoever. However, I do want you to read a comment from B-Dog that we had on a separate personal kind of text platform. So this is our little guy, Justin, by the way. Mommy has to use the phone, so he can be pretty chill, but you can wave to the people out there. This is our youngest of 5 children, by the way. So what we want to do is let me lay the context down of who B-Dog is. B-Dog is a high level, or was a high level football player, coach, has a son and daughter, a son that I'm sure is not only raised absolutely spot on, because B-Dog is retired Air Force as well, and those guys have their heads screwed on relatively tightly. So what I want to do is I reached out to B-Dog and said, B-Dog, if your son hits you inadvertently with a football helmet during a game on TV or whatever, what would you do? So I'm going to defer to B-Dog because I thought his take was good. B-Dog, can you read that?
He said, if I were the if I were the head coach of a football team, I would just sub him out in my coach role, because if I grab him and shook him, remember Lou Holt snatching his last football's face mask? He got fired, and I get fired or fined too, because in that moment, he's a football player, not my son per se. Once we get home, we'd handle it father to son in a teaching moment, because the situation would have changed. Also, this is a full-grown man making millions. Jimbo Fisher, I think, snatched a face mask last year and almost got fired. A 22-year-old football player punched his college strength coach. This kind of physical stuff can go left fast. Also, imagine the headlines if dad snatches him. The tennis world sees where Tsitsipas gets his anger from. Has Tsitsipas been abused with his past after a scuffle with high school or /dad, head coach? Greece tennis takes a step back after head coach dad fight on the sideline. Is that Greek tennis?
Yeah. Let me. This last statement is perfect. Also, imagine the headline if dad snatches him up on the court, as I said I would do if it was my son. The tennis world would see where Tsitsipas gets his anger from. 2, has Tsitsipas been abused in his past after a scuffle with his dad or the head coach? What he's getting at, and you can go back and read the last 2, But my response, as I said, is I'm a naive human being, and I try my best to raise kids accordingly. And that's what the topic was about yesterday. What would you do if you were necessarily a parent and your son inadvertently hit you with a tennis racket? Number one, to Daniela, the threat to unsubscribe is it's I get you're frustrated, but that's not what we're here for. We don't make money on this. We don't even monetize half of the videos because I think ads are just sometimes just absolutely ridiculous. We raise 5 children. Number one as parents, that comes first. 2, we are coaches. We coach tennis every day. I've been a little bit less involved because I blew out my knee. But getting back to that, but we coach number 2. We hang out with family number 3. This show that we do is us sharing our passion with you. And I think those like Rahesh and B-Dog 2 and so many others that we communicate with like personally because of the show, I think we all kind of feel the same energy. And I've always felt Danielle's energy, and I hope that energy stays here. But ultimately, I mean, the threat of unsubscribing was really just kind of as an immature as Tsitsipas' outburst. So I'm assuming she's younger or maybe doesn't have kids or whatever. It doesn't matter. But I think this is more Carla and I's way of escaping. Not escaping, but having our serenity with 5 kids and everything, and sharing our passion with tennis for you. But ultimately, B-Dog said it the best and had a rational thought of what he would do. How would it look if you snatched your son off of the court?
I told you that yesterday laughing in the United States. You go to jail for that. You can't do that.
So squashing this topic with this, personally, I am a naive human being, and that I always will be. And hopefully the next chapter, after the energy has departed here, maybe I can take what I've learned here and share it elsewhere. I won't get into my theories of that here, but nonetheless, we learn every day, and we learn it from you and from everyone else that we meet. So let's go, stay positive, work hard, and don't forget that being kind, because everyone is fighting a hard battle, is a good motto to live by. I think yesterday we weren't very kind to Tsitsipas, so to Daniela, apologies, but as parents, no apologies.
No apologies at all.
Okay.
I won't apologize for what I said. It's my opinion.
The last nail is in the coffin. We have buried it. The dirt is over it. B-Dog had the best answer I think I've heard in a very long time. So thank you, B-Dog, for that. Moving forward, next topic I wanted to bring up is how good Novak Djokovic looked yesterday.
He looked good. He destroyed Garin. Garin had no answers for him, even though maybe in the second set it looked like he had some life in him. Djokovic looks like he normally looks. I think he will be tough to beat at the Australian Open.
Personally, I thought Novak looked extremely sharp. Mm-hmm. From head to toe, his body looked very crisp. It looked like he'd increased a little bit of muscle mass, and maybe...
Yeah, he looked a little bit thicker.
Even in isolated areas. I think that a lot of people don't look at the small things sometimes. Novak Djokovic looked like he has gained trap muscles. That's the shoulder muscles here, like you get when doing shrugs, etc. If I remember correctly, he had some elbow and shoulder issues. That would take some pressure off the shoulder, so he's been spending time in the gym. That's obvious, straight up. He's been obviously doing some type of calisthenics, box jumping, etc. Because
maybe he's training with Ronaldo, the soccer player.
Maybe so. Ronaldo's a beast too. However, back to tennis. The look of Djokovic from head to toe looked like a specimen. His quads look good. His feet look good. Even though I cringe when he slides on the hard court, it makes me think
his strokes always look clean.
So the Christian
he look better than Nadal.
Christian Garin, I think it's Christian, correct? Mm-hmm. is a very good Chilean player. He has man legs. Check out his legs. He's highly developed in the legs, and there's no pushover. And Djokovic kind of toyed with him. I think Garin got up a break early in the second yesterday, and then Djokovic just kind of laughed it off and just proceeded to kind of just hang out and chill and win it in straights. I think he broke right back and then just kind of walked away with it. Djokovic's tactics were incredible. It seemed like Garin would try to lock on to one pattern or tactic, and before you know it, Djokovic has changed it. And basically, the moral of the story is Garin looked lost, and he's no pushover. He's a good player. Garin could be top 15 in the world by the end of this year. I mean, I think he's like 36 or 38 now, but he's a mover. Watch out for him. He'll make noise this year, I can promise you. Lastly, Is it possible? Is it possible that Novak Djokovic wins the calendar year Grand Slam that's winning all 4 majors this year? Australian Open, French Open, Wimbledon, and the U.S. and tie Roger Federer. Yes, I said it. Could he do that and win all 4 this year?
Why do you keep going back
to
this? He had a good chance last year, and he didn't do it last year. No, he definitely doesn't have a chance to do that. It's tough to do that. I'm not saying that he's not going to win 2 or 3, but no, I don't think so.
I said, could he? Yes or no?
No, he can't.
And no, because?
Because it's hard for anybody. Nadal couldn't do it. Federer couldn't do it. No. He doesn't dominate on clay. He has a chance of winning the Australian Open. I have a feeling somebody new is going to win Wimbledon or even Federer. And the U.S. Open, it's open. It's open. You don't know who's going to win.
To answer my own question, could he? Yes. No. I think he could.
You said this last year.
I think he could. However, if he does not stay healthy, no.
Again, that's life. We don't know, right?
I think he can. Poll in on that in comments. Can Djokovic win all 4 this year and tie Federer and surpass Nadal this year in 2020? I think it's possible and highly likely if he stays healthy. Okay? Moving forward, next topic. Eugenie Bouchard is looking kind of strong. Strong.
Her upper body, not the bottom, looked the same. The upper body was stronger. She had more muscle. She looked thicker. She was serving harder. Of course, she played against a player, Garcia, who does nothing out there, just hits the ball pretty much. But Bouchard's serve was on. She had her side to side. You know, she kind of looked like the older Bouchard that came out to play and not worried so much about Instagram and other stuff.
Bouchard,
it was a good win.
I thought it was a great win.
She plays Anisimova next.
Bouchard, since her Wimbledon final appearance, if you don't know, has fallen off, and for those of you that may not have followed her career since then, Bouchard's been around for a while. When was her final? 2014 or
She's
something?
25 years old now.
She's been around the block for a while. For the past couple of years, she has just been, from the gist of what I've seen from her, has been not winning a match, going like 0 and whatever the latter half of the season last year, and it's just been all over kind of modeling in bathing suits and thong shoots and so forth.
She's in the 200s right now.
So 238, I think. So I think that maybe some of her pictures were confused with the sense that she's not training anymore, but she's definitely training. So maybe I'll retract some of my statements about how can you keep up with your fitness if you're doing those type of pictures and showing your butt all the time. But I just fit B-U-T and B-U-T-T.
Well,
but she has been doing work in the gym because she is strong up top, and I'm sorry, I think her legs look stronger.
No, they look the same.
She is 3-0 if I remember, if I'm spot on 2-0 or 3-0 to start 2020. That's very good for her.
She's 2-0. She beat Flipkins and then she beat Garcia. That's 2-0.
Yeah, and I think that the
next match is tough.
So look, and she plays Anisimova?
Yeah.
I think Bouchard will beat Anisimova.
I don't think so.
I think so.
I don't think so.
Who wins, Anisimova or Bouchard?
Anisimova just beat Kasatkina. No, I don't think so.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the likes of Bouchard and Sharapovas, with their track record in tennis, will be given the maximum of 3 wild cards. I think every player is entitled to, as long as they get one of the wild cards the tournament is offering to the player. I think that they can get a max 3. So
Bouchard last year had to qualify for Grand Slams.
Bouchard has gotten a wild card, or is it Sharapova got the wild card?
Yeah,
but do you think Bouchard will get a wild card here?
If she keeps winning, then she'll accumulate these points real quick where she doesn't have to qualify.
Yeah, and I don't think she has anything to defend, so it can only go up from here, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Carla, does it or does it not make your game more freely to be played? Do you not swing more freely and think more clearly? If you have nothing to lose or defend.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
She can play. She made a Wimbledon final. That speaks for itself. I think who beat her? Kvitova?
I don't know.
Or was it Serena that destroyed her? I forget.
I don't remember.
Anyway, does Bouchard do well this year?
Hopefully she does, because she's 25 years old. Before you know it, you'll be 30. And I'm sure it hurt her that someone like Andreescu, younger girl than her that looks way better than her, has a better chance of being an Instagram model than Bouchard does. I bet you it hurt her. She probably never thought there would be another Canadian player that would have the looks and the game.
That's a big statement. I didn't think about it that way. So that's a good thought. I never registered that. So yeah, you're right. Andreescu could be causing her to want to catch up. So
she's no longer the little darling.
So she's Andreescu, in your opinion, is a motivating factor for Bouchard.
Definitely.
That's well said.
Man, if I'm 25 and I'm here's this 19-year-old, won a Grand Slam before me, looks good, better ranking than me. Yeah, I would be pretty upset about that, and that would make me want to work harder. Absolutely.
All right, sorry I had to get up. We don't have any of the 5 kids. Well, one, you just saw him, but he's incapable of reaching the camera or telling time yet. 20 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, Carla, it's on you. What you got?
Well, I didn't realize this. I had to read it. I didn't know that there were other tournaments going on in the ATP. There is the Qatar Open going on as the ATP Cup is going on.
And I think generally Qatar is frequented by top-notch players.
Yes.
I know Federer used to play it sometimes to get ready for the heat of Australia.
Right. Those are warm-up tournaments. Well, Rublev, Opelka, and Tsonga are not very happy with the ATP Cup right now. Rublev says, and Rublev is ranked like number 23, which is a great ranking. 23 in the world.
Top 23 in the world, yeah.
He could not get into the main spot because you have Khachanov and Medvedev that are ahead of him. He could have played the ATP Cup as an alternative, but he can't. He wasn't going to take that chance. He needs these warm-up tournaments, so he decided to play the Qatar Open. Tsonga, same thing. We know, he's not in his top game, trying to get back. Opelka's number 38. So instead, Isner and Fritz are playing for the USA. These guys are upset because they're saying it's not, his quote, Rublev's quote was, it's not easy with the ATP Cup. I think maybe they need to change something because this is not fair. It's not fair for them, they're saying. Djokovic has already earned $356,875 in Brisbane. If he would have won Qatar Open, he would have made $130,000 less. So a lot of these players are playing because obviously one, the money, two, the ranking points. These guys are also complaining, saying that, normally they play 18 tournaments and here we have another tournament. So these guys that are 1,000 or 800 in the world are getting points and they're number 1 and number 2 in their team because certain countries like
Russia or
Moldova,
the smaller countries,
these players are playing 1 and 2, but they're really ranked like in the thousands. So they're saying it's not fair. They got to figure something out. I don't blame them why they're upset.
So the moral of the story here, and Rublev, the Russian,
it's a great player
and wonderful player. One of my favorite of the next gen cheesiness.
I think he's probably better than Khachanov.
I think he's better than a lot of them. But Rublev and Riley Opelka voiced their opinions that because of the ATP Cup, or not because of it, but those that are able or were invited to the ATP Cup because of it being country-based allows players that are ranked, close to 1,000 in the world, and they're ranked 23 in the world, and the 23 ranked player doesn't have an opportunity to play for X amount of points or a lot of money because the country that they are from has a couple players that are ranked in the top 10 or better, or the top 20 or better. And that keeps them from going to play. So I don't know who though kept Opelka from playing because
he's 38.
Because you have Isner and who else?
Fritz is ahead of him.
Okay,
yeah.
so Riley Opelka, arguably better than both of those players, didn't get to play in the ATP Cup because you have Taylor Fritz, a modicum game at best, and John Isner, always a modicum game at best, especially if his serve's off. He's got a squat game and no chance.
Right.
But he didn't get to play because those two players were ranked higher. Rublev isn't getting to play because of, I'm assuming, Khachanov and Medvedev.
And just like Tsonga, you have Simon and Benoit Paire. He can play.
Furthermore, the entry fees in the ATP Cup are paid for by the agreeing country to play. So whereas the players are paying entry fees unless they are invited to enter the tournaments elsewhere that they are playing in order to compete for ranking points. Mm-hmm. So the moral of the story here, the ATP Cup is something new. Anytime we have a new event on any sport or anything, I don't care if you're just planning a wedding for the first time or planning a Halloween party or planning a rugby tournament for the very first time, there's always going to be issues. There's always going to be work to be done. Sit down, figure it out. How do we make it better moving forward? It is unfair for the players such as Rublev or such as Opelka and many others. It is not fair that they don't get the opportunity to, number one, not spend money to enter the tournament, but number two, not be able to win any points, and number three, less money than they could potentially win if they play in another tournament. So your thoughts on that? It's kind of a crap sandwich with mayonnaise, and it's a real crappy situation.
Some people like mayo, Justin.
I ate mayo. That stuff makes my butt jiggle for like 3 weeks. I ate 1 scoop of mayonnaise, I feel like right off the right butt cheek for like 3 weeks. Anyway, I'm not a mayonnaise guy. Just don't get down like that. It's nasty. Ugh, mayo. Jeez, I just lost my train of thought thinking.
You might have lost 2 subscribers for that.
All right, whatever. Woogis, right? Woogis. Who gives up? Anyway,
you might have lost 2 subscribers for that.
Anyway, I just don't like mayo. I really don't use any sauces. I think that kind of disrespects the cook. You know, if you go over to eat at someone's house and they lay down this beautiful dish, you know, and they got the chicken, they got.
Justin, you better be careful. You're gonna lose subscribers.
You know, they lay down a beautiful plate. You know, you go. Let's just say this, Carlo. You and I meet for the first time. You know, you cooked me dinner. That's not how it happened. I actually cooked you dinner.
That was not the first time.
Well, the first time someone cooked for one another, I'm cooking.
It was bad too.
What? Because you had frozen seafood that was spoiled in your freezer.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was pretty, but bad.
Pretty, but your seafood was raw, literally.
Well, he mixed up some things that were bad.
You mixed up some things that was having permafrost from her freezer, because that was rough, and I tried to make good. However, check this out. Let's just say someone invites you to dinner. Boss, girl, first date, whatever. They bust out with some nice sauteed grouse, whatever. Some nice linguine topped with like a risotto and some nice stuff.
You're not gonna put risotto over linguine.
Well, whatever. You get what I'm saying.
Nice
They're
dish.
creating you a nice dish.
Yes.
Beautiful dish. Lay it out here. All of a sudden, you know, you say a blessing or whatever your deal is. Grab the fork, get all set. You know, thank you so much. Well, pass me the ketchup and the mayo.
I put ketchup on my rice.
Man, I'd be like, huh? I would like to say, there's the door.
Nah, I wouldn't. That's nah.
Pass me the mayo when I just spent all night cooking. Serious? Stupid. Jeez, disrespectful to the cook. You know it too. Mm-hmm. Would you do that? You dump some mayo on something I prepared.
Well, you don't put mayo and stuff like that. So
Would you put some catsup on it? Didn't ketchup used to be spelled C-A-T-S-U-P? I think it's ketchup now, K-E-T-C-H-U-P. Ketchup, catsup. All right, moving forward. Where do we leave off? I forgot.
With the whole Rublev thing, the ATP Cup.
Yeah, it's a crap sandwich with mayonnaise. That's right. The mayonnaise needs to be taken off, and they need to figure something out, because there is a lot of players that deserve to go.
Sure.
Because
I'm sure they'll figure it out. It's their first year.
Anyway, I've enjoyed the tournament, though, so far.
Yes.
But Rublev and the likes of Rublev and Opelka do have a case that deserves to be discussed. All right, what you got?
Women's matches. Muguruza wins in Shenzhen Open. Good for her. She plays Diaz. Pliskova plays Bondarenko.
Is that Pliskova's sister that
Kristina Pliskova, yes.
Okay. So not Carolina, but
no,
Kristina.
No, Carolina's playing another one. Brisbane. Colin destroys Putintseva 6-1, 6-0.
Can we see? Do you think we can? You know, Collins. The problem with Daniela Collins, the U.S. player, by the way, who played. She has a great story. She started her college career at Florida. She didn't get much playing time there, and she transferred to Virginia.
Yes, UVA.
And she won two national championships there, which is a big deal. D1. I'm telling you, she can play the game, but her only kryptonite. Yeah, she gets really upset. She gets really peeved off, kind of like Tsitsipas did.
Yeah, she does.
Maybe Daniela Collins and Stefano Tsitsipas and Sasha Zverev, maybe they can go on like a trio trip to anger management.
I feel pretty.
So pretty and gay.
Yeah.
They
need it.
Pretty.
They need it.
That does everything you need is real.
Yeah, they need it. Jack Nicholson needs to be the instructor.
Have you seen the mirror, boy? What woman wear? Yeah, they need that. They got to park on the Brooklyn Bridge, hang out, and play that.
Yes.
Because they all need a puppy.
Yes. What other match are we watching? Oh, yes, I had to laugh at this match. Risk beating Strykova.
Risk can play the game.
Yes. No, I wasn't laughing at her game.
Oh, the coach.
The coach, yes.
Oh, so we got served up a dose of mayonnaise mixed with peanut butter watching this match. So Alison Risk, well, first of all, if you guys don't know, Carla and I really despise the coaching on the sidelines. It's cheeseballish with the likes of Svitolina's coach. Yeah, do good. You do good. Here's the camera. I look right here, and you're over here, but I'm looking here because I want to be on camera. I say, you good? Yeah, you good. Just stay positive. Yeah. Or you can get the Alison Risk coaching treatment, which just lapped up cheesiness. Okay, we'll pretend this off. You are Risk, and I'll be your coach. What's his name? I forgot. No disrespect to the coach. Homeboy comes out on the court. He's got glasses on because he looks so petrified that he knows he's fixing to be on camera and says this. I actually wrote this. Now, if you watch the NFL on Monday Night Football, one of the commentators is Booger McFarland. I love that dude. However, he gets drilled because he commentates about being so obvious. Like, he says something that everybody just knows. Like, hey, your goal is to win the game. Well, duh. Or your goal here is to,
if he said, if he aced his opponent, he would easily win a point.
Yeah, in other words, when you commentate, you're trying to pick things apart and not necessarily state the obvious. So Homeboy comes down, and what I'm getting at is how does this help the player? And this is how all the coaching on the sidelines are.
Yeah.
He comes down, and she calls him out. He gets down there. She's winning. She won. She calls him out. He kneels down. He's got his glasses on, and she's like, well, what do I do? Whatever. What strategy? He says this: stay in the point. Well, duh. And show them your strength.
Show her your strength.
Show her your strength.
Just show her your strength.
So
It's fine. It's fine.
I'm trying to take up for Booger McFarland here.
Just show your strength.
If you don't watch the NFL football, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But gee whiz, you call the coach out, and your key to winning this match is stay in the point and show them your strengths. Otherwise, just mute. So what I'm trying to find out is
there's no reason for the sideline coaching. There's no reason for it.
Duh, stay in the point. Well, yeah. I mean, I gotta hit the ball back, right? And show them your strengths.
He should tell her, try drop shot here, and then you slice here, and then
work the backhand. Work the backhand. Bring her in for the dropper.
Coming in after the serve.
Do something.
Yeah.
Stay in the point and show her your strengths. Or you can get Svitolina's coach. Stay positive. Yeah. Not even looking at her. Stay positive.
Don't look at my feet.
Or you can get the Tursunov treatment with Sabalenka, right? Where Homeboy just comes out and she just sits there and he just sits there and just kind of looks in opposite directions. So I'm still trying to find the good in
What about what the commentator said when Osaka was playing Sakari? And what was her name? Carrillo says to Gambill, what would you tell Sakari to improve her game? And he said, well, I would tell her that she needs to learn patterns.
Well, duh.
She should have at least 2 patterns. I was like, No wonder you weren't such a good tennis player.
All right. Listen to Justin Gamble. Wasn't it? No, Jean-Michael Gamble. Listen to that commentating. I would advise maybe just to spare yourself and to think a little bit more deeply. And by the way, give Booger McFarland a break. He's pretty good in my opinion. All right.
Good match to watch tonight is Osaka against Kenin.
That will be a good match.
That's a good match to watch.
Also, I think Brady is playing Barty, and Barty will kickstart her 2020 season. Am I correct? Mm-hmm. I look forward to seeing what Barty has to offer. She is my favorite to win. I'm going to give her 2 majors this year as long as she can keep her game right where it is. Variety, strength, offense, defense. She has it all. Touch, feel, control. She has multiple tools in her toolbox on the tennis court. She can bring variety. She can bring offense. She can stay defensive. She can stay patient, and she's a strong girl. A cricketer in a sense. She came from cricket, so her hand-eye coordination and sweet spot. She's holding a racket this big, about 100 square inches, and she used to hit a cricket paddle, right? So her sweet spot is spot on. Surely, I think she has an edge this year. Lastly, what I wanted to bring up is Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and Serena Williams will play in an exhibition match as a charitable event for those affected in Australia for the bushfires. I think it's wonderful and a wonderful way to warm up for the Australian Open even more.
Awesome.
With no pressure.
Yeah.
That's all I have. What you got? You good?
No, that's it. ATP Cup going on. Nadal took him two long sets to beat Nishioka. I was a bit shocked by that one.
Yeah, you know, at the beginning of the show, I was thinking about bringing up the Nadal match with Nishioka, and it was tight. Would you say I was being a conspiracy theorist though if I said, look, you know, Nadal normally plays some of these Middle Eastern tournaments, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's sweltering hot like Qatar, or what's another one? The Estoril? No, I think the Estoril happens later. Dubai, I think. Mm-hmm. So here he is in Australia. Sure, he's there to get more sales there because of the bushfires. Number one. So I'm pretty sure the human being that he is, he's there for support. Number one, hence the exhibition. But number two, was it not though in his best physical interest to go through a long hot match to help him condition for potentially meeting Novak Djokovic this year in the final of the Australian Open?
No, I don't think Wayne Chia said it was dumb for him to even play doubles.
Well, I agree with Wayne M. Chia. It is dumb, but maybe is what I'm saying, and that's why I mentioned in my conspiracy theories. But maybe his coaching staff was like, let's see how far we can press, or is that just a dumb thought?
I think that's a dumb thought.
Anyway,
the other one I'm shocked with is Coric going down to Schwartzman 2-2. Ouch.
Yeah, Borna Coric, again, he's one of my, he was and still kind of is one of my favorite. Again, I say next gen because so many people associate young players with the state next gen. I think the next gen is cheesy. The only reason why the next gen connotation came around in the first place is because of the big three and nobody can beat them. But Borna Coric a couple years ago, I really thought would be top 5 in the world, and it's dropped, and he's losing. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there. I really don't, but I'm beginning to lose my hopes there.
And then Peja beats Cilic.
Cilic, Marin Cilic, by the way, 7-8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, in my opinion, was a number 1 in the world type caliber player. He had a wrist injury, if I remember correctly, back in the day. Maybe it was elbow that took him out of the game for a while, and when he came back, he wasn't the same, in my opinion. His legs look heavy, Cilic does, so I don't think Cilic will be a finalist in any major this year.
No. This game is coming to an end soon, too.
It's slowing down a bit. I like Cilic a lot. He's been a good human being. I think he's a Croatian, if I remember correctly. He's been a wonderful human being throughout his entire career, and I think the wrist injury, and I'm pretty sure it was a wrist, correct me if I'm wrong, really cost him his forward progress on the road to becoming world number 1. Now, he did win a major, right? The U.S. Open.
The U.S. Open, yeah.
So congrats to him. One of those one-and-dones like Ivanovic, Wozniacki, and many others on the list of one-and-dones, but at least he got that.
I don't see him as Wozniacki and Stevens. I think he's tried, and I think, like you said, his injury kind of hurt his game because he made another final. He did make a Wimbledon. He made a Wimbledon final. So no, I don't see him that way, one and done.
We'll see. I don't think he'll win another major.
No, he won't win, but I don't think he's like, those one-time wonder hits. I think he tried. Injuries messed him up. Agreed. Just like Potro. Same thing. Agreed.
I like Potro a lot better. But Cilic is a fine player, and I always liked watching him play. Except the two-handed backhand, not a big fan. Anyway, that's it, guys. Please subscribe to our channel. Love you, Daniela Machado. Believe me. Don't go. That's up to you.
She already left.
All right. Well, so be it. Sayonara. Adios. But no worries. They come and go just like any other human being that you meet. They come and go, and the ones close to you tend to stay. Much love, Rajesh, Kumar, and B-Dog for your help for this show, and staying on board for sure. Sorry you left, Daniela. Much love, though. Stay positive out there either way. But again, I think the threat to leave in doing so was just as immature as Tsitsipas or Zverev. Surely you're young, but you have much to learn just like me. Anyway, subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Adios.